Good.
Alright, testing. 1, 2, 3. This is FNG Star, joined by everyone's fetus, Lilac Galaxy. Dear Thot Bubble Britney, boy, are you about to have a bad day just now, so I'm reading off these wonderful messages that you've sent to Buttons. I'm going to try and capture the full flavor of your personality, and I'm going to try and be as fair as possible, wink wink, nudge nudge. Let the record show for everyone reading this that I have told both of these people multiple times to leave me the fuck alone! I have blocked them on Tumblr. I have blocked them on Skype. I have blocked Buttons multiple times on multiple accounts. Spoken has threatened me via a friend of mine by saying they'll only leave me alone if I publicly agree with them, which I refuse to do because I don't agree, and I don't want to be fucking involved in this weak bullshit. Let's do the second one. Ah, I feel alive. I feel alive. Anyways, also, fuck you, Spoken. I have openly admitted those screenshots she shared came from me. Spoken and I were on friendly terms at the time, and I told her about this in confidence because I wasn't entirely sure how to handle this situation. And as far as I know, Sega stopped talking to Toon shortly after, and I didn't see a point in going public for multiple reasons. I'd like to extend an apology to Sega for trusting this backstabbing cunt with this information that I specifically told her to keep her mouth shut about. Those conversations are almost a year old, and the only reason she's bringing them up now is because I've told that their bratty asses I don't want to be involved, and they don't want to take that as an answer. I haven't talked about Buttons or Anthony, hi by the way, publicly in months, and I don't want to be, page 3, I don't want to be involved, period. You'd know all about those. End of story. You're all stirring up bullshit just to stir up bullshit, and I'm going to be on Tumblr talking about Lily Pete from shit from 4 to 6 years ago. It's pointless. It's a mess. I've tried to be involved in the past. It was exhausting. Oh, exhausting. Weren't you just basically muted in the Dusky novel thing and did absolutely nothing while me and Quillstroke and Sheldon carried the goddamn weight? Yeah, we could go back through. I'm just doing off the top of my head, but getting back to your reading here. Trying to sort through this ungodly amount of dishonesty between all of you. Oh, perils of the damned. You crossed the line. You want me to get involved? I'll get fucking involved. I'll drag each and every one of you until you get through your skulls that this has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to be coerced, manipulated, or fucking threatened into taking a goddamn side. Get out of my inbox! Get out of my friends' inboxes! Quit trying to dig up old shit that's irrelevant to whatever! Leave me the fuck alone! Let's get to the 4th page. I've had way too much caffeine today.
I can tell.
Oh, no, that was it. Oh, this is Anime Wolf Gamer here at the end. Oh, it cuts off. Oh, that would have been good. So Thought Bubble, I just want to do in off the top of my head, you think I'm a monster. You absolutely think that I'm a predator. But instead, your answer to do this is just to mumble quietly and not address me at all. But Lord forbid somebody make a cringy fanfiction like Lily Pete, and you're going to follow them into the heat death of the universe, and they might have sexually harassed you or been really manipulative. But if it's about somebody else, especially people around Toon Critic, people who are being harassed or bullied, or an actual child, Thought Bubble, my god, well that's not you. So it's just fine, you sit on Tumblr and you whisper into your ass and not do anything with your fucking life. Oh look, another person in fucking top of the barrel who went in there and went from Thought Bubble Britney to Thought Bubble Britney, that hoe over there. Thank you, fuck you, bye. That wasn't even scripted.
Nice.
Anyways. Oh, Jesus. So when you know, the willstonater replied to the last video. Well, the last how not to Brony. Love this upload schedule, I'm sure you guys do. But those of you not in the know, Will is a person, he's a voice actor in the Brony community. He does some singing, some dancing, analysis. I'm sure some of you might find some things that I've shorted the man on. The following is a response to the latest HNTB. Yes, I did write that letter to Toon, and yes, those were my own words. I had written this a few days after I heard about what he had done last January. This was simply my way of cutting ties from him. 1/4. To willstonater, I'd like to state for the record, if I at any time was unclear the letter from Toon was old, I'll do it now. Yes, the letter that Toon had wrote was from early 2018, or close enough. Do I acknowledge that I could have worded it better? Yes. I was very emotional, stressed at the time, as this involved someone I had known for almost a decade, and I would have even considered him a close friend back then, 2/4. For the wording, I'm trying not to be a penis, because one of you did not respond. Yes, the time was very stressful, and many of us made many mistakes. I'll try to be more empathetic this time, but let's continue on. It was never my intention to make it seem like I didn't care about the other victims. Toon has hurt, and if it did come across that way, I am truly sorry. I sincerely did not know how much of a truly awful person he was till after the fact. 3/4. I'm going to do a pro and con for Will. The willstonater said he didn't know the extent of Toon's behavior. On one hand, that's not impossible to believe. Why, I did speak to many of Toon's other friends about some of the complaints, about some of the things the Toon was getting a pass on. I never went to you, because I sensed you suffered my presence simply for Toon's sake at the time. Additionally, Will, I am in fact well aware that you are kind of a busy man, or that's just the impression I have. And pro, if you simply weren't aware, with life being busy, would you really be responsible? The counter-argument, if you did list off that you promised Toon's parents to keep an eye on him, or something to that effect.
I promised your family I would look after you, you see. And now, you made me feel like I fucking blew it.
You also listed off a bunch of names people Toon dated, and
Mo, Kat, Lexi, Julie.
And while I can say I was a bit more informed about Toon's behavior, so was my whole goddamn room. Any of my friends or my ex-friends may or may not talk to Will to confirm that. Pro, Will, I don't think anyone truly knew about what Toon was doing. At first, up to and including Isaac, but hell, I could be wrong. So in the interest of transparency, do I think that Will tried to cover up for a pedophile? It would be news to me. Regardless of what matters most right now, is that he's out of our lives for good, and we try to help those he hurt. I will try to be more vigilant going forward. Thank you. Last of the fourths. As for being more vigilant, more forward, work, family, yada yada, things are going to get more busy for you, Will. And to be fair, why I felt, and some other people who might have been more dialed into Toon and what he was doing, I don't think that meant the knowledge of pedophilia. The money, the mishaps, Toon being a whore, among Toon using and abusing the pool, like that shit was going out of style. I have no 1v1 proof despite some unfortunate word choices that Will used here. Just how much Will did or didn't know. It's tempting to treat people as a collective when it comes time to lay the blame at people's feet. To assume naturally there is some great coalition because of certain similarities. And yes, I will admit that's not entirely fair to make such assumptions. But based on the wording, I hope you might get why people would raise an eyebrow. But yes, in the interest of transparency, I don't recall off the top of my head of Will ever being at any kind of drama powwow behind the scenes or otherwise. And my talks with Will likely can be counted on one hand. And yes, Will, I do realize the reading was played up to potentially make you sound more dickish than might have been the original's intent. I also remember you cut off ties to me when I laughed at Toon's misfortune. When all this went down, and I must admit, that was the height of tacky and gauche on my part. I hope you understand why I and many other people did a victory dance when Toon went down in flames. That's it. And that might have been the end of today's video. So I've had it pointed out to me, this is respectfully Joey Turner's girlfriend, and this is Josh Scorcher's girlfriend. Harmony Dancer FNGR is an absolute twat, and a piece of vile shit. You've done nothing wrong, Will. Aria the Fiery Elf, my sentiments exactly. Those through much more colorful wording than I would have ever allowed myself Thanks, Harmony. Again, seeing as how at the time that I saw these, it was the most festive time of year, I'm going to give Mrs. Burner yet another in a series of ongoing mulligans. You can thank Creepy Reading, and only Creepy Reading, that you're getting this pass. As for Mr. Turner's girlfriend, I wanted to be a rude prick. I'd make some offhanded remark about, isn't your boyfriend the guy who sleeps in the willstonater's closet on a beanbag chair? It's a good thing I believe in the moral high ground, because we're not going to do that today. But if only there was someone who decided to go that extra mile, someone who used the situation to make it all about them and their agenda. Dear Jack, I could just show Chalice and how you think this man is a white supremacist and call it a day. But we have a video to pad out. Worse than Toon, Jack Nolan has told me he thought I was worse than Toon because Toon paid him the proper respect. Jack's reasoning for putting me ahead of Toon is that I don't mind telling Jack that, and your waifu and mine, Jack Nolan, will, good people, please pretend that scumbag Aguilar doesn't exist. I got his whole story from his barely of age victim and hooked her up with a therapist. Worse than Toon, got every state's age of consent memorized. Leave him to howl his calumnize. You're using your big brain nibble words there, Jack, into a void.
He's apparently coming at me like I'm some kind of diehard Republican, and that I'm also a James Allsrop fanboy who must defend.
He's a moron. Which I've had Aeon of Dreams back in one of my previous videos back up, but whatever. As for pretending not to exist, bear with me on this one. Jack feels I'm worse than Toon Critic, and his means by which to deal with me is ignore me. Am I understanding that right, Jack? The whole point of Toongate, if you will, and the backlash, is even if half of that happened, Toon should have been drop-kicked out a long time ago. And removing people from the fandom, you're the same person that said that we needed to push out horse news, but we're going to ignore me. Would you care to have any level of fucking consistency whatsoever? As for memorizing the age of consent and having it memorized in each state, I'm a bit at a loss here. Off the cuff, I couldn't tell you all 50 states off the top of my head. I bet most of you in the comments can't do that either without the internet or perhaps some Animaniacs song. The three numbers I know off the top of my head at the state level are 16, 17, and 18, which doesn't take into account any potential federal laws. You can get into trouble if you cross the state line in pursuit of anyone under 18. As for barely legal, this is buttons.
Alright. I don't see why people keep saying Anthony dated a barely legal person. I'm gonna just say this. I was 19. I was not 18. That is not barely legal. Anthony is not a pedophile. I am not a victim.
Eden Cookie Star, and I'll let her speak on that one, Jack. I mean seriously, Jack. There isn't anywhere in the US where 18 is illegal. That's at a federal level. I'm not a lawyer. Do your own research. As for having the statutes memorized, I argued with Brony Inspector what Foxler did with a 16-year-old was illegal, whether it was North Carolina or not. I thought it was illegal. It would appear, to the best of my research, I was wrong. That Foxler video was months after we talked, so literally anything that you said would have been bullshit. You know, Jack, it's one thing when Lily Peet doesn't engage me. Your sphere of influence is laughably small and misguided, and the fact that you've virtually taken down all your Brony drama videos, and you disabled the comments on the one that you kept up. Yes, you can certainly take your judgment at face value, Jack. As for forgiveness, Jack, earn it.
Eject these neo-Nazi wannabe scumbags.
Anthony is not a pedophile. victim.